Hello class, and welcome to week 3 in MSE 608B. This is our video introduction for the week. I want to give you a quick overview of all the components, everything that's required this week, and some of the moving pieces that may be a little confusing. So let's go ahead and jump into what we've got lined up for you for week 3. Now the first thing is congratulations on completing week 2. The West Company once again wants me to send my thanks off to you for the work that you did last week. It built upon what they had worked with for week 1. So putting together that Porter's 5 forces diagram, creating a strategy, and being able to lay out that path for them, creating those multiple strategies was very, very important for them. Now this week we're going to build upon that by creating SMART goals. So you're going to find that we're going to take last week's material and we're going to evolve that and continue to move forward. But let's first take a peek at the lectures we've got this week. Lecture number 3, the recorded lecture, is going to be on people selection. And hiring people is one of the fun things that you get to do as a manager and a leader in a high-tech firm. Sometimes it's not as much fun as it sounds like trying to get the right person. So anyway, there's a great lecture for you. It's got some questions for you that I think you'll find very enlightening. And then we're going to have our live lecture on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that one, where we're going to discuss, is going to be the right people, trying to get the right people in the right place at the right time. Okay? So those are the 2 video introductions that you've got for you this week. Now, let's go ahead and take a peek at the individual assignments. So as an individual assignment, last week we finished up the LPI, and by the LPI we did everything except make available for you your team report. So there's an LPI team report I will have created and made available for you. You're going to be discussing your team report. And remember, it's anonymous. You can't tell who's who in the report, but it'll give you a chance to look at what those components are. And the reports are pretty healthy. I mean, they're about 20 to 30 pages long. They've really got good explanation as to what all the graphics are, the model, and how we're importing that model and working our way forward with it. So the LPI component is really going to be central to a lot of what we're doing, not only this week in week 3, but in other weeks as we continue to move forward. So let's start with your individual assignment for this week. Your individual assignment for this week is going to be a case study, and there are 4 separate case studies you're going to have in different weeks. This is going to be week 1 of the case studies, but it's week 3 of material. So it's analysis number 1, and it's on the New York bakery. You're going to have an opportunity to download it out of Cases in Leadership, so there should be an opportunity for you some way. Either you're going to have to get the book or they're going to make the PDF available for you. But it's located in this particular journal. Now, the week 3 case study that we're going to be talking about is called the New York Bakery. Let me go ahead and pull that information up for you, and that way we can kind of walk through exactly what that looks like. So, the New York Bakery case study is going to have a series of questions for you. I need you to do an analysis of this particular case study, and the easiest way to do that is to break things down into 5 separate areas: the who, what, where, when, why. Anytime you're doing an analysis, anytime you're doing a case study review, using that 5 W's tool is very, very good. It's very critical. I've made a 5 W's tool available for you also. So I've got a template that I've loaded for you over in the module area that you can pull up, and you can go into this, and it's just as easy sometimes to print this, handwrite the who, what, where, when, why down for yourself. Now I've left it available for you to go in and edit it if you actually want to type it into this. But one of the things that you're going to find is that as you get into this assignment and you go to submit it, I've created a template for you, and that template is going to actually have question spaces for you on the 5 whys. You're going to answer those questions. Then you're going to take that LPI model that we've been pulling at from the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. Remember that model. So that's the LPI model. You're going to actually take each one of those components, those 5 components of the model, and you're going to ask the question below: what modeled the way leadership practices action should be implemented. So you would go to the action for model the way. You'll see that model the way is over here. And each of these different components you're going to explore. So each week that you're doing a case study, you're going to pull at it from how would I resolve things? How would I look at it from the 5 practices? What would that feel like? Okay? And the 10 principles that are associated with this are going to come into it also. So those are areas that you're going to be required to look at. So let's just kind of pull up what the template looks like for you. Let me get rid of this. And then in addition to that, we've got another template for you. And this is going to be the one that's loaded in there for you to answer the questions to. So after you've filled out your 5 W's template for yourself, that gives you a cheat sheet to come in and answer these questions. The who, the what, the where, the when, and the what. Okay? So what caused the situation to occur? When did this happen? Where does the situation occur? What is the problem? Who is impacted by the case study? You will need to answer all 5 of these questions to get credit for half of this assignment. Now the other 5 questions are going to be based upon the 5 practices. So those questions that I just walked you through, you will need to fill those out. So this is your template for your individual case study. Make sure you complete that. That walks you through the individual component that you've got for the week. Now, don't forget, we're still running in teams. Your team should be pretty much through the chaotic portion of storming and getting into that performing and norming, where you really start to understand what the components of your team are like. So as you're moving forward now, the West company who hired you 2 weeks ago is now asking for more information from you. Now that you've gone ahead and created the information that you did up to this point, they want you to create some, I'll call it, goals based upon strategies. So we've kind of pulled at strategy last week. This week we're going to pull that a little bit more. So let's go ahead and pull up that the team-based assignment for you. And you can see that this week you're going to be creating goals and objectives, and we've got a development assignment for you for this week. And you're going to use SMART goals. There's more information for you on what are SMART goals, but last week you created 3 different strategies. Now what we want you to do is we want you to go look at each one of those strategies, and you need to define 5 separate SMART goals. So that's a total of 15 SMART goals associated with the total of these 3 strategies. And we've got a template set up for you. So I've got a PowerPoint template I'll make available for you. Let's go ahead and pull that up so you can see that. So your team leader would be responsible for submitting this to me. It has got each of the different strategies. So this is the corporate level strategy sheet, and there's a SMART goal number 1. You would go in, you would fill out what that SMART goal is. Make sure you follow the directions for how to create a SMART goal. Remember, specific, measurable, achievable. Those are the components. Timely. Make sure that it fits all of the letters for SMART goal. So each of these goals that you're going to create has to have enough detail to be considered a SMART goal. You've got 5 of them, and you've got 3 different strategies you're going to create. Here's the business strategy. Here's the functional strategy. So that's going to be a total of 15 SMART goals that you'll be developing. Okay? Now, that is what you're responsible for from a team perspective. Don't forget that the team leader helps assign things to people. The team leader helps other people understand what needs to be done. They don't do the whole assignment themselves. They would be delegating things off to those of you that are on the team. Everyone on the team must be participating. I'm looking for this to be a collaborative effort. When we get into week 8, there is a peer review, and that peer review will be one that is handed out to everyone. You will grade the other members of your team, what their performance level was like, and that will impact their grade. So remember, teamwork means that everyone is participating. Now let's go ahead and jump over into the discussion forums for this week. So remember, To get full credit, 3 discussions on 3 separate days in each graded discussion forum is what the requirement is. And the discussion must contribute to the discussion to help move it forward in a positive direction. There's got to be substance there. You can't just say, I agree with Andy, or Beth made a lot of sense here, works for me. Those are not appropriate type of discussion threads. You need to fill out enough detail for us to see that you've moved the conversation forward, that it's got some substance to it. The 2 areas we're going to discuss this week are going to be leadership vision and leadership culture. Now remember, in weeks 1 and 2, we've talked about and explored not only the components of leadership and management and how they're blended together in that high-tech firm, but how leaderful leadership puts you in a position where at different points in time you may need to step forward and volunteer to be the leader, and then step back and ask other people to take the lead. So those are the components that we're going to be discussing. In addition to that, this week we've got the textbook readings. So once again, the leadership challenge for this week, pages 93 through 142. Great material. You're going to really start to understand that model. So don't forget, we keep pulling at that model each week. Each component of the model is getting used and put together. So the final thing is going to be your textbook readings for Everybody Matters, the Bob Chapman book. And you're going to have pages 83 through 112. The story is evolving here. You're starting to see the challenges that he had as an organization, how they had to really approach things differently, and how the mental mindset of moving forward in a positive direction was driven by somebody who was really looking out for his people. How do we understand that people as a resource, the people resources we've got, how do we understand that they are so important for our ability to really make an organization move forward? That's going to cover everything you've got in front of you for week 3. Don't forget, congratulations on getting everything completed for week 2. And as we move forward, if you've got any problems, issues, or concerns, don't forget in the module there's a spot where you can fill out any problems, issues, or concerns. Let me know what they are. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Don't forget, I also am available via cell phone, via any of the email addresses that are available, and text. So feel free to bring up any other problems, issues, or concerns you've got during that week 3 Zoom live presentation. At the end of it, we always make time available for any questions anyone has. So have a great week, and we're off and flying through week 3. Goodbye.